In recent weeks, we've been discussing the Mishkan, the portable sanctuary that God commanded the Jews to build during their travels in the desert to the land of Israel, following their redemption from slavery in Egypt. Today, we'll go through some amazing concepts related to different parts of the Mishkan and what they mean to us in our daily lives. Are you ready? So let's get to it. The Torah portion begins, Ve'ata Tetzaveh, and you shall command Bnei Israel to bring you pure olive oil to kindle the eternal light. As the pasuk, the phrase in our parsha says, God tells Moses to bring pure olive oil crushed for the light. Just as an olive gives oil only when it's crushed, the Talmud explains that our greatest potential can be reached under pressure. Sometimes, pressure is unavoidable. But in many situations, we can keep stress to a minimum and give ourselves the best chance to shine each new day. We can prepare ourselves, just as the menorah was prepared by the Kohanim, as the parsha says, to kindle each day from evening till morning. We can prepare ourselves for the next day by doing a cheshbon hanefesh each evening. This is a spiritual accounting, which involves our doings between ourselves and others, and between ourselves and God. We must take a look at what we've done, what worked, what could use improvement, and how we can make that improvement happen. There's another way to prepare ourselves to reach our fullest potential. The Kohanim had to wear special clothing during their work in the Mishkan. A closer look at the Kohanim's garments can also give us insight on how to be our best. Our spiritual garments are our thought, our speech, and our deed. There were 8 priestly garments. Kabbalah teaches that 8 represents something being above the nature. Days of the week. A week has 7 days. The natural order of the world was created in 7 days. 7 notes completes a musical scale. 8 is above the natural order. We must strive to make our spiritual garments above the nature, just as the 8 priestly garments allowed the Kohen to perform service in the tabernacle that was supernatural. That means our thoughts, speech, and deeds should be above our nature. In other words, being the best people we can be, and even going beyond our nature when necessary. For example, our speech. The phrase says, the olives were crushed for the light. When it's necessary to speak words of rebuke, we must never embarrass or humiliate the person. Not only is this not nice, it's forbidden. Our sole purpose must be to help this person by illuminating and uplifting him. As Rashi, the Torah's foremost commentator, explains, just as the Kohen lights the eternal flame until the flame rises by itself, we must rebuke when needed in a manner that helps the other until he can rise on his own. One of the Kohen Gadol's garments was the choshen, the breastplate, with the names of all the tribes etched in valuable gemstones. Our family, whether by birth or by choice, is important. Just as the choshen was worn on the front, we must keep our family in the forefront of our minds. By cultivating qualities of being loving, caring, and compassionate for those closest to us, we can then exhibit these attributes to others. Another garment, the tzitz, was a gold plate worn on the head with God's name inscribed saying, Holy to God. Spiritual goals are important, but Judaism is a religion of intellect. Hasidus teaches that the mind must rule over the heart. God is the King of Kings, and each one of us was created in His image. How do we treat others? How do we carry ourselves? Do we act with the dignity of a royal? As our royal forefather King David said in the book of Psalms, Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid, I have placed God before me constantly. The Kohen's holy work in the Mishkan involved many things, including burning incense on the altar. The Hebrew word for incense, ketoris, is related to the word ketar, which means bond. Indeed, the burning of the ketoris was a way to bond with God. In fact, this was so important that even today, thousands of years later, we mention the ketoris in our daily prayers, describing in detail its ingredients and the way it was performed. Until God rebuilds the temple in Jerusalem, our daily prayers are a temporary replacement of the services performed in the temple. The altars upon which the services were performed were overlaid with gold and copper, but the inner part was made of shittim wood. Not only is this beautiful, but a large vessel of wood cannot be contaminated by spiritual impurity. Just the same, our inner essence is an actual part of God and can never become contaminated. Our essence is who we actually are. It is our core. One may know our name and may even know a lot about us, but they don't necessarily know our essence. The concept of one's essence is discussed at the beginning of the parsha. A well-known point in Parshas Tetzaveh is the fact that Moses' name is not mentioned, not even once. Let's look again at the first phrase of the parsha. You shall command Bnei Yisrael. You here refers to Moses. When we say you to someone, we are speaking directly to that person, to their essence. So even though Moses is not mentioned explicitly by name, he is nonetheless very much present in the parsha. And in God telling Moses to command Bnei Yisrael, he is further establishing their eternal connection. It's known that the Hebrew word for command, mitzvah, is related to the word connect. We are connected to Moses at our core. We have a spark of the soul of Moses inside of us. Further regarding our souls, King Solomon says in Proverbs, the soul of man is a lamp of God, meaning our purpose in life is to illuminate the world with godliness, with divine light. God is one with his Torah, and the fuel for that light is the commandments, the mitzvahs. It's through the performance of the mitzvahs that we illuminate and elevate the world. Hence the command at the beginning of the parsha, Ve'ata Tetzaveh, and you shall command Bnei Yisrael to bring you pure olive oil to kindle the eternal light. But there's seemingly a paradox. The parsha continues that the light should be everlasting from evening to morning. The Rebbe explains everlasting means always and consistent. In contrast, evening and morning represent different levels of illumination. But the paradox is reconciled when we look at our mission in life. We must introduce the perfection of godliness into our mundane world and do so illuminating it at every level. The menorah, upon which this eternal light was to be kindled, was the prototype of spirituality. As King Solomon also says in Proverbs, Ner mitzvah v'Torah or. A candle is a mitzvah, and the Torah is light. The menorah's 6 outer candles were illuminated by the center candle, the one which always remained lit. The term used in this week's parsha to mean to light is laha'alos, which actually means to raise. We learn here and must always remember that we must elevate the world around us by using the physical things in our lives and raise them up to fulfill their spiritual purpose. In this way, we can do our very best and each take part and share in illuminating the world around us, helping it reach its fullest potential. As the famous tzaddik Reb Zusha of Annapolis once said, when I come before the heavenly tribunal, I'm not afraid that they will demand of me, why wasn't Zusha like the patriarch Abraham? But I will be afraid if they ask me, why wasn't Zusha as Zusha could have been? Thank you to all our subscribers. Please leave me comments and questions below, and remember to click like, and most importantly, if you haven't already, subscribe and share the videos across your social media so we can continue to bring you new content each week, uniting people by inspiring them to increase in random acts of goodness and kindness through technology and Torah. See you next time. Good Shabbos, and do your best today. You've traded a day of your life for it.